Hey everyone, this is the Rope Break podcast. This is our very first podcast. My name is Jeff, and I will be always with my partner.
I am Eric Vanek. Nice to meet everybody here.
All right, this is going to be a real quick first podcast for us. We've been wanting to do this for a while, and we're going to be doing a lot more in-depth podcasting having to do with professional wrestling, mostly WWE with TNA. As long as TNA is in business, I should say.
Yeah, not going to be very much longer.
Yeah, it could be a good 6 months, and then it'll just be completely WWE. We probably won't talk about too much indie stuff, just because I'm not as knowledgeable as indie as I used to be. But for today's episode, at least, we're going to be talking mostly about the Royal Rumble. Going to go through our predictions, who we think is going to win the Royal Rumble, who we think is going to win the actual Royal Rumble matches. Some surprises that we think are going to happen. Then we're going to go quickly into just what we think about Sting's future, if we think his last match did happen this last Thursday on Impact, and if he will be brought into the WWE, and if so, how we think that's going to happen. And then we'll just kind of just tell you, going forward, what this podcast is going to be all about. So I guess we should just get right into it.
Sounds good to me.
Our first thing that we're going to talk about... I'd say let's just start with the WWE title match. Now you know what we shouldn't do that. We should just go from the pre-show on up. So the pre-show match, which again is going to be another awesome match. I have no idea why they put the awesome matches on the pre-shows. Although when you look at this card, I don't know what match you would put on the pre-show, but the pre-shows to me are just dumb.
Yeah, I have to agree with that. I mean, we've had some pretty good matches on the pre-card. I remember, not too long ago before Sheamus got hurt, they had a very decent program going with Damian Sandow and Sheamus, and that match ended up on the pre-card somehow.
Yeah.
It was like one of their featured feuds on SmackDown there for a little bit, and it was actually going really well. Both of them had really good chemistry going, and it's on the pre-show.
Yeah, for some reason it seems Cody Rhodes gets on the pre-show a lot. And
him and Dolph Ziggler.
Yeah.
And Miz.
Yep, Miz is always on there. I mean, I can understand if you're going to put Great Khali on the pre-show, or you're going to put someone really, really new, like if you would put...
like Xavier Woods or
exactly.
something.
Yeah, I can see that on the pre-show, but putting Cody Rhodes and Goldust versus the New Age Outlaws on the pre-show, especially when, I mean, even on SmackDown, they just closed the night. They were in the main event, and then on the Raw, they were in a big match. I mean, they've been highlighted for like the last couple months. I mean, the Rhodes brothers are really stepping it up, and they've really done an awesome job for the tag division. And you bring back the New Age Outlaws, and you're just going to put them on the pre-show. It just doesn't make sense to me. But whatever, it is what it is. My prediction for that match, obviously, is going to be Cody Rhodes and Goldust going over. I don't see the titles changing hands on a pre-show match that, honestly, not many people are going to be watching.
Well, I know they've changed titles in the past because they did it at WrestleMania with Miz and Wade Barrett this year.
That's right. I do remember that.
They changed the Intercontinental title, I believe it was, it was the Intercontinental title.
Yeah, and then
so they can change it, and I actually do believe that it will change. I think the Outlaws are going to win.
You do.
And I think this is kind of going to be the start. There's going to be some sort of miscommunication, or Cody's going to hit Goldust on accident, one of those kind of deals in the ending, and that is going to cause them to win. That's just one theory I have. Maybe the Shield will end up helping out the Outlaws somehow and getting like a whole... I don't want to call it the corporation, but kind of a whole big corporation going again. Just a couple of things, I think. And I think that's going to start the whole Cody versus Goldust going into WrestleMania match.
I would really like that. I mean, the feud between the Rhodes brothers should come to a close at WrestleMania. I know that they've been pushing for that match to happen for a while. I'm hopeful that that's finally going to happen. We're at WrestleMania. We're finally going to get Cody Rhodes versus Goldust. I think if that happens, that will be Goldust's retirement match, basically, from the WWE. I think he really just wanted this last push to do some stuff with Cody.
Yeah.
I think that'd be great. I love the New Age Outlaws. Always love the New Age Outlaws. For them to win, for them to win the tag titles again would be absolutely amazing. So I hope you're right. I hope that is exactly what happens. I hope we get a break of the Rhodes to set up their WrestleMania match, and we give the New Age Outlaws at least a month or so. I don't know how long they're going to stick around this time, because last time they did the same thing, didn't they? After the after Old School Raw, and they stuck around for like a month.
Yeah, it was something like that, or a couple of weeks. I don't really remember. It's been so long. But,
yeah. I remember they were just in for a little bit.
Yeah, and also the other one, Cody and Goldust have been confirmed to be in the actual Royal Rumble match and pulling double duty.
Okay.
So I kind of think, that could lead to some interesting stuff inside the actual Rumble match. We always have little storylines building in each Royal Rumble. I think that would be another good way. Maybe, maybe Goldust eliminates Cody. They try and take out somebody together, and Goldust just turns his back and throws Cody over somehow. Something like that. So I would look for something like that to happen.
Okay, I agree with that too. I think with both that match and the Royal Rumble itself, I think that gives them plenty of time if they are to split and they are to go into Mania, which is a couple months away. I think that's a perfect opportunity for that to happen. I think next we have Daniel Bryan versus Bray Wyatt, which is something I'm so looking forward to this.
Oh yeah, I mean the program that they've done over the last month or two has been very well done. I think it's been a very solid program. It's only gotten better recently. I was kind of worried Daniel Bryan wasn't going to even be able to participate in the Rumble because of his concussion, but sounds like he's ready to go, and his first match is going to be at the Rumble, and it should be very good. It's going to be a showcase of two. I mean, obviously Daniel Bryan's a star already, but Bray Wyatt could really make a name for himself having a really good match with one of the best wrestlers in the industry today. So we'll see what Bray can do.
Yeah, I think you mentioned the concussion. It makes me wonder how hard they're going to let them go, being careful of his head. But Bray Wyatt, I mean, I don't mark for many people recently, but Bray Wyatt he gets me so excited. I mean, his promo skills are some of the best in the business right now. This whole feud, this whole angle, has really it's taken on a life of its own, and it really shows on camera, and it shows Bray Wyatt's skills. I mean, obviously they're not letting him wrestle as much because he is injury prone. He's gone through multiple different kind of gimmicks to get to where he is now. But I think this match definitely has the potential of telling a great story in the ring, and I think that they're both going to put on I'd say it could be the best match. It could be. It depends how it goes, depends how hard they let them go. But I definitely am getting excited for this match. I don't know. This match is hard. I know we talked about before we even did this podcast about this match, where we were on it, and I really don't know. I'd say going this close into WrestleMania, I'd say Daniel Bryan has to get the win here.
And I'm the same way. I really thought about it for a good 5 minutes on who I thought was going to win this, and I'm tossing it back and forth. I mean, both of these guys could still pull double duty. From what I've read today, that there's 20 names confirmed and 10 open spots. So both of these guys could still end up in the Royal Rumble. After thinking about it and all of that, I know they're really high on Bray Wyatt. I mean, obviously they're high on Daniel Bryan. But I think to further the story along, I think Bray Wyatt winning, but I don't think he's going to win cleanly. I think Rowan and Harper are going to help him, or maybe it's a DQ finish with Daniel Bryan winning, and they call for a DQ because Rowan and Harper interfered. That's kind of just how I see it. And then, obviously in the Rumble, Harper and Rowan are in the Rumble already, and adding Bryan and Bray into the Royal Rumble, maybe Bryan could take out all 3 Wyatt members in the Rumble and kind of build that story even more. I could see something like that happening. But I think Bray Wyatt's going to win, but not cleanly.
Yeah, I could definitely see all that happening. That's why I could really go both ways with this. Bray Wyatt definitely could get the win here. I just think it would be too much damaging to Daniel Bryan's push as of late to have him lose that match. But, I mean, if he does, it would definitely have to be a massive beatdown, and they would definitely have to get everyone involved in that. But if they're both going to be in the Rumble, I think it's going to be an excellent way to just keep advancing that feud. I would hope you're right, and that Daniel Bryan would be able to take out everyone, and then that would basically just end that. And either way, I think they're both going to be strong after this.
Yeah, and this shows how much better WWE is getting, though, because if you look at early last year, I mean, you go into the pay-per-view matches, you could pretty much predict who was going to win all of them, and you're pretty much 75% right all the time. You know, this is a match that it really could go either way. I don't have the slightest clue who's going to win. That's just my opinion on who I think is going to win, but
yeah, and the really cool thing is, in past Rumbles, there was you just knew people were going to be in, and it's just who's going to get who out. But this year, it feels, with all of the different feuds that have been going on, it's kind of exciting to see what else they're going to be able to do to advance these feuds within the actual Royal Rumble match. And this is definitely one of those kinds of feuds.
Oh yeah, I think it would be tremendous to see all 3 of these guys gang up on Daniel Bryan, but Daniel Bryan, with his heart and passion, just somehow is able to eliminate all 3 Wyatt members. I think that would be a huge story, and it'd be an even bigger boost for Bryan going into Mania and whatever plans WWE has for him.
Yeah, I agree. Now, going after that, let's get into the Big Show versus Brock Lesnar match, which, on paper, when this first started, I was like, oh gosh, I really don't want to see any of this. Big Show is getting up there in age, and he definitely needs other people to carry him for the most part. And Brock Lesnar is, I'm not a huge Brock fan. I was earlier in his career, but they've really done an outstanding job hyping up this match, and they've done an even better job making Big Show a very believable person to go against Brock Lesnar. And I'm actually, I don't know if I've ever been actually this excited about a recent Brock Lesnar match, but I actually really want to see Big Show versus Brock Lesnar.
Yeah, and I don't know, maybe you can tell me, is this match no DQ or a street fight or anything like that?
That I wasn't aware of.
Okay. Well, I could see them changing that or something in the pre-show and making this just a brawl, because that's what this should be. Obviously, I mean, Brock could wrestle a little bit. Big Show, he can just do a few moves here and there. He's not going to be a Chris Jericho in the ring or anything. So, I mean, this match, for what it is, it's going to be a fight. It's going to be a brawl, and that's what Big Show is good at now. He can do that because he's so strong. He's so big. And going up against an equal foe in Brock Lesnar, they could just tell a really good story, and it could be a really brutal match. And Brock Lesnar's last match, I believe, was Punk at SummerSlam, which a lot of people on the internet and in the world here say that was the match of the year.
Yeah.
So if it's, I mean, I'm not expecting Big Show to be on CM Punk's level, but I think it could be a very good brawling type match. I know WWE doesn't do blood and stuff anymore, but it'd be nice to maybe showcase that a little bit. Just, I mean, at least on one guy, just to show how brutal these two can be and how strong they are.
Yeah, I think, actually, I just went to WWE.com just to check on that. There's no indication that it is going to be a no disqualification match, but I definitely could see this them just throwing everything out the window and them just saying, just go for it. Whether they want to or not, I think there will be blood in this one. Like you said, I think this is just going to be a brawl. I think this is going to be a real stiff brawl. where they're just going to go at it. Like, this is going to be basically Brock Lesnar's MO right now. He's just being known recently since coming back for just fighting. And I think that was the plan all along, getting him from the UFC back into the WWE. They wanted that legit MMA kind of guy. They tried to do it back then with like Kurt or Ken Shamrock or whatever. But I think this is the first time it's actually a legit badass brawler kind of guy. I can't see Brock Lesnar losing this match, but they have done a hell of a job of making Big Show incredibly strong. I give them major props for the way that they have done this feud so far, and my only hope is that the ending is just one of those epic kind of moments of just like a wow kind of factor.
Yeah, we've seen it before. I believe back in, I think it was SmackDown a long time ago when Brock was originally in. Wasn't it him and Brock, or Brock and Big Show broke the ring?
Yes, yeah, it was.
Okay. So, I'm not expecting him to break the ring. I know Brock has F5'd the Big Show before, but I think it would be kind of cool to maybe even hit it with him twice.
Yeah.
Or maybe even doing it through the announcer's table or something like that. But I agree with you. I think they've done a good job of building Big Show up. But in the scheme of things, Big Show's a team player. And Brock Lesnar only has a handful of events a year with his contract. I really don't see Brock losing this match. They're going to build him up. You know, the rumors are flying out there that it's almost set in stone that it's going to be Brock versus The Undertaker this year at the WrestleMania pay-per-view. So I think losing this match for Brock Lesnar would make absolutely no sense and make him look not weak, but weaker going against The Undertaker. You want Brock Lesnar to absolutely destroy the Big Show and make Brock Lesnar look like this undestructible force, and going up against The Undertaker's streak, which will prevail. I mean, it has the makings of a really good story. WWE has done a lot better at telling those kinds of stories. I mean, they did a very good job last year, I thought, with Punk and Undertaker building that up. And you got about the same time frame after the Royal Rumble. Well, it depends on whenever Undertaker debuts. If he debuts back at the Rumble Sunday, if he debuts the night after, you know, whenever the Undertaker decides to come back and to start this feud up, it's going to be really interesting to see where they go with it. But I definitely don't see Brock losing this. I think he'll win.
No, I don't see him losing. I mean, especially especially from what you said of Brock and Taker getting set up. There's absolutely no way a Taker opponent is going to be weak in any form. So I say Brock goes over. I just hope it's a decent match. I hope it's a good ending, but a heck of a build-up. I really enjoyed this build-up. And then that's going to lead us into the WWE title match, which I'm actually not that looking forward to with Randy Orton and John Cena. I just don't think it's... I don't know. I like what they've done with Randy Orton. I don't necessarily like the build-up to this match, though.
Yeah. I mean, well, they recently just started it with Orton just going berserk and punching John Cena's father out and sending, Cena's father to the hospital. And then this Monday night, Cena not showing up till the very end, chasing Orton out of the building. That's, pretty much, what we have to go with for this month. I mean, last month they had the new Undisputed title up for grabs in the TLC match, which actually ended up being a not too bad match. I thought it could have been better, but it was pretty decent. It had a new spot, with the handcuffing to the bottom ring ropes and Cena untying it. I thought that was very cool. But
they did better than people expected, I think.
Yeah, I agree. I think it could have been. I think they could have used more tables, more chairs, all that kind of stuff. There wasn't really that brutal of a match as we're accustomed to in TLC matches. But this match, I think it's going to be... I don't think it's going to steal the show. I don't think it's going to be the best match of the night, but I think it's going to be a very solid match. These two have worked together numerous times before. I want to kind of see something new. I want to see something, that they don't really do, too often. Not the same kind of Cena just hits the attitude adjustment or Orton just hits an RKO out of nowhere. Just something different. I don't know what it is, just something different. Give me a little bit of something different. As far as who I think is going to win, I've kind of gone both ways about it, but I think with who I think is going to win the Royal Rumble, it makes the most sense to have Randy Orton win this match. So I am going to say Randy Orton wins this match somehow, some way.
I would agree. I have a couple people in mind that I would think potentially could win the Royal Rumble this year, and every single person, it makes more sense to face Randy Orton. I just don't see John Cena being the champion at this time. Obviously, he'll get the belt back at some point. It's just not his time is not now.
Yeah, and it's with this Rumble, it's a little different because we're so used to having two world champions going into, the Royal Rumble. You had the WWE title and you had the world title. Well, now it's combined, so it really makes an emphasis on the winner of this Royal Rumble really needs to be a strong challenger to basically main event WrestleMania, because this is what it's going to be. So
yeah, I agree, and I think Randy Orton the last couple months has really changed his style a little bit, or at least how people perceive him a little bit in the ring, and I think he's just become more legit than he was prior. So I see Orton winning this. I see it being a good match. Hopefully they give them a solid 17 minutes, and it's hard when you also have a Royal Rumble. They're always pushed for time. So the unfortunate thing is one of these matches is going to get cut a little bit. And honestly, if I could pick any of them to get cut a little bit, I would say the WWE title match, just because I'm just really excited about the others.
Yeah, and it'll be interesting to see if this is the last match that goes out, or will the Royal Rumble be the last match? Because last year we had CM Punk and The Rock in the Royal Rumble for the world title, and that went off last. John Cena winning the Royal Rumble went before that match, so it'll be interesting to see if they put this match out last, or will the Royal Rumble be last?
Yeah, I agree. And then that leads us to the big one, the actual Rumble. Yeah, I'm actually more excited for this Rumble than I have been for past Rumbles. I think the structure of the company is getting better with newer talent and advancing them better, or at least quicker. And I think this Rumble is going to be a very entertaining one. I don't know if you're going to have a moment like you do with like a Kofi Kingston or John Morrison, where you're doing something crazy of being eliminated, but you're not actually eliminated and you get back in. I don't know how many more things they can do besides like the chair butt scoot or the parquet on the railing getting back into the ring. But I do think it's going to be an entertaining Rumble with all these feuds that are going on. It's really up to a lot of people that could actually win this Rumble. It's not a guarantee like it usually is.
Yeah, it's very wide open. I'll just kind of name off the participants who have been confirmed. There's 20 so far confirmed names. Those are from the WWE app, WWE.com, and just Raw and SmackDown naming off, who is actually in the Rumble. So far we have confirmed are Batista, CM Punk, Alberto Del Rio, Big E Langston, The Miz, R-Truth, Xavier Woods, Kofi Kingston, Goldust, Cody Rhodes, Fandango, Rey Mysterio, Roman Reigns, Seth Rollins, and Dean Ambrose, Eric Rowan, Luke Harper, Damian Sandow, Jay, and Jimmy Uso. So those are your 20. So we have 10 open spots. obviously those aren't all going to be surprise entrants. I'm guessing some people are going to pull some double duty.
Yeah.
I mean, I wouldn't even be surprised. I mean, because if you really look at it, you have younger star power, but you only have like CM Punk, Batista, Del Rio, and Rey Mysterio. I would consider he's been a big name in the past. He's a former winner of the match. I mean, those are really only your strong big names in the match. So I could see them definitely adding John Cena, Daniel Bryan into this match to give it more star power.
Yeah, like you said, it's all going to depend on if and who will be doing double duty. I mean, if the way I see it is you have a bunch of different kind of feuds that could kind of eliminate each other, and obviously one person's going to come out over the top of the others. I mean, you have the things with Batista and Del Rio. You have things with Daniel Bryan if they do put in Bray Wyatt. You have the whole thing with the whole Shield. You don't know what's going to happen with that. I honestly think it's going to be a surprise, and I think it's going to be one of the younger guys that they're really pushing hard for. I know a lot of people are going to think that it could be like a Batista, or it could be a Daniel Bryan if he does do double duty, which in the past couple months I was really hoping for Daniel Bryan to be able to do double duty and win this Rumble, because I think it would just come full circle if it's Daniel Bryan versus Randy Orton for the title at WrestleMania. I really think that would be a great moment, and Daniel Bryan going over and finally having his huge moment, because he's really had a huge impact on the last year. He's definitely, I would say, the star of the year, just for what he's been able to do with crowd reaction and basically self-pushing himself. I mean, we all know Vince isn't a huge fan of his or the smaller guys in general, but he's really made it known that he really is one of the top stars in the industry right now.
Yeah, and it's not really even his crowd reaction. Yeah, his crowd reactions, I mean, are almost equal to Stone Cold and The Rock, even. I mean, it's been crazy, some of his reactions. But it's pretty, I think it's almost certain that he might be the best wrestler in the company. I mean,
I would agree.
You got CM Punk. I mean, I think that's about it.
Yeah, it's
name.
Yeah, it's basically Daniel Bryan, CM Punk, 1A, 1B.
Yes.
And I think Daniel Bryan took a step over CM Punk within this last year.
Yeah, he definitely has. So, but before we get into like who we think our final four is going to be and who we think is going to win, the fun part of every Rumble is there's always surprise entries. So, I kind of want to get your opinions on who you think are going to be surprise entrants.
Well, trying to think about it, there's no one I can think of an epic surprise. Someone I would love to see is if they could somehow have gotten AJ Styles to come in. I would jump off my seat, and I would be so jacked if that happened. I just don't know if that would actually happen. I don't know how much interest they actually have in him. I don't know how much interest he has with them. He might just be a kind of guy that just wants to just ride the indies, just keep doing some Ring of Honor dates. I don't know. But for my surprises that I think are legitimately going to happen, I can definitely see Kevin Nash coming in. I could see Booker suiting up again, and I could see X-Pac coming in. I think it would be a really cool moment if at one point you have like a Kevin Nash, X-Pac, and you have the Outlaws all in that Rumble. And especially when you're looking at CM Punk in the Rumble, and the thought that there's rumors about CM Punk versus Triple H at WrestleMania, I think that would be a perfect way to just beat the crap out of Punk and get him out of there, so you're not looking at him as maybe one of the very final entrants in the Rumble.
Okay. Yeah, I think X-Pac would be kind of cool. I could see with everyone else being back. With the Outlaws and pretty much all of DX being back lately. I think that would be kind of cool. Kevin Nash and Booker T. I mean, those were surprise entrants in like 07, 08. I forget what year it was.
Yeah.
Off the top of my head. I mean, I could definitely see them being it. With only 20 confirmed names and 10 surprises, I think there's going to be 10 guys, or maybe 6 or 7 guys, maybe 8 of guys that are currently on the roster that just haven't been named. There's like Mark Henrys, there's Great Khali's.
You're going to get Great Khali.
Yeah. Like I said, Mark Henry, Khali. I wouldn't even be surprised if Brad Maddox runs down there or something.
Yeah.
But I don't see 10 surprises. I think there's no way.
There was one year where we got like a good 6 or 7. That was the year where like Mr. Perfect came back, Goldust came back.
Yeah.
There was a couple. There was a good like that was like probably I would say the most surprising year. I wish I knew it right off the top of my head the actual year it was, but yeah, there was a lot of surprises. But I agree. I don't see too many happening.
Yeah, and I mean the last real big surprise that I could think of was Edge coming back and winning it. I think it was 2010, I think it was, or 2009, one of those two.
Yeah.
When Edge came back, that's the last real big surprise I can remember.
Yeah, because we knew after John Cena got injured a couple of years ago that he was going to come in and do what he does.
Yeah. For my surprises, though, I have 2 stars that I think are going to come back. I think Rob Van Dam is going to come back and get him started for something for WrestleMania. I'm not sure exactly what. And I also think Sheamus is going to come back in the Royal Rumble.
Yeah, I can see that definitely.
And also 2 rumor names I've heard. I actually just read this today. They were thinking about bringing in 2 Cold Scorpio because they want to do something with ECW and bringing back kind of ECW kind of stuff. Since on the WWE Network they're going to be having ECW, all the ECW pay-per-views, maybe even all the ECW hardcore TVs, they're going to have all of that ready and streamed, ready to go, and they kind of want to bring in some ECW guys. But that wouldn't be my first choice of an ECW guy to bring back.
Well, he's got to be up there. I mean, dude can go. I mean,
oh yeah,
he's a.
But if you're going to do that, I mean.
I can definitely see RVD.
I mean, 2 Cold Scorpio was a very good wrestler in his day, probably underrated.
How shocked would you be if Shane Douglas came in?
Man, I would never see that happening.
I mean, because you see him on WWE DVD more now. That would shock the crap out of me if they actually got him in a WWE ring.
Yeah, I just don't see it happening. He's stepped on too many toes in his time.
I agree.
I don't see it happening. One that I would like to see.
They will be in Pittsburgh, though. That's another thing. They'll be in Pittsburgh. That's Shane Douglas's town. That would be crazy. But you're right. I don't see it happening. But it would be. I'd love it personally.
Yeah, I mean, I liked him in ECW and WCW. I was more of a fan in WCW because he had Torrie Wilson with him, but that's probably for another day. I think I know it would just be a spot, but bringing in Terry Funk, because he really was, what embodied ECW. You hear the stories of how good of a guy he was and how he would put over the other wrestlers, using off of his fame to put over guys. I think bringing in Terry Funk would be cool. And I think even bringing in, maybe have Cactus Jack and Terry Funk both in the Rumble would be pretty cool.
And that's the thing with the Rumbles is how many times have we seen Mick Foley in one of his outfits be in the Rumble? So seeing him in one of those forms wouldn't shock me. It would obviously be a quick spot with him because he's not moving like he used to. But nostalgic-wise, it would be kind of a cool spot.
Yeah.
Especially with Funk.
And then the other name that I read today was Jimmy Wang Yang. And I guess from what I was reading is he's a very good friend of Batista, and he's been at the last 2 weeks of shows in the back.
Really?
And I know WWE featured him on their website not too long ago, within the last month or two.
Yeah, I do remember
so
that.
I wouldn't be surprised if he just makes a surprise return.
Yeah.
I know Jake the Snake Roberts. He recently just came back. He's been wanting to get in.
Actually,
I think that would be cool to get him in there for a spot.
That's what the whole thing with DDP was actually for is they were working for getting him at this Rumble.
Yeah.
I think that would be great for him to be in the Royal Rumble, and it completely went out of my mind. But yeah, I would definitely love to see him be one of the entrants.
And the other one, since they're talking about Hall of Fame inductions and stuff, and different people that might be inducted, I wouldn't be shocked if Roddy Piper comes into the Rumble.
Yeah, I wouldn't either. He's been really active on Twitter, talking about returning maybe for a WrestleMania match. I don't think it's going to happen with Hogan, but I really don't think that could happen. But yeah, like you said, with the Hall of Fame and them looking to induct that whole match, I expect him to be involved coming up real soon. And why not start with the Royal Rumble?
Yeah. So, all right, and then. Since we said our surprises there, who are your final four going to be in the Rumble match?
Man, my final four is hard. I know who it's going to come as a surprise potentially who my final two are, just because I don't think it's going to be a really big name. But I see the final four, I guess, being. I can see it being Batista. I can see it being. I'm going to say Batista, Daniel Bryan, Big E, and Reigns. That's going to be my final four.
Okay. That's pretty close to mine. I just have one change over yours. That's all. But I have Big E, Batista, Roman Reigns, and CM Punk.
Okay, yeah. I think to if this match with him and Hunter is going to happen, I think they need to do it. It could happen at any point. It could happen at the end. But I think within the final 6, final 7, I think they're going to do some kind of thing that's going to really piss off CM Punk, really get him just out of there, potentially with Kane as well, with what's been going on the last 2 weeks of television too. Yeah, so but it's definitely a good final four. And who do you have as your final two and your winner?
Okay, well, I see this actually being a WrestleMania match, but I think being eliminated third and fourth would be third, fourth, last would be Roman Reigns and Big E, because I think these two should have a WrestleMania match. Two of the up and coming stars, Roman Reigns and Big E, just two big monsters. I think those guys should be primed to have a big WrestleMania match, and I think this could be the start of it right here. And that would, in turn, leave Punk and Batista in the middle of the ring to decide the winner. But I agree with you. I see Kane or The Shield or something screwing over CM Punk, or even Triple H himself, something like that, because, Triple H has screwed over Daniel Bryan at SummerSlam. So I could see Triple H getting himself involved somehow and getting Punk eliminated, and that would set up the Triple H versus CM Punk feud going into WrestleMania. And I think it's going to be Batista winning the Rumble, and it'll be Batista versus Randy Orton for the WWE title at WrestleMania.
To me, that sounds basically what is going to happen. I'm kind of having wishful thinking, but I'm hoping if it's my perfect WrestleMania, my WrestleMania moment, I feel it would be the last 3. Even though it's not a part of my final 4, the last 3 would be Daniel Bryan, Batista, and CM Punk, and then the final 2 being Bryan and Punk, and then Punk gets screwed over, Bryan wins. What I think is, or maybe this, I should say, what I think will be different if they want to go that route is that the final 2 are going to be Reigns and Big E, like you said for their WrestleMania match. I think they've been so strong on Big E that if they want to actually surprise people, I think they're going to have Big E go over and win it. Is it too soon? For sure. It's way too soon. It's way too soon for them both. I think Batista is too predictable at this point. I think, if anything, there might be a Batista and Del Rio match at WrestleMania. But I'm gonna go with Big E, and that's a bold prediction, I guess you could say. But that's what I'm gonna.
Oh yeah, definitely. I mean, like, basically all my predictions are off of what I think WrestleMania is going to be. So I think, Batista and Orton for the title. I think CM Punk versus Triple H. I think Brock versus The Undertaker. I think Roman Reigns and Big E Langston are going to have a match, maybe for the Intercontinental title. I have no idea what John Cena and Daniel Bryan are going to be set up for. I read some stuff where it's Daniel Bryan and Sheamus are kind of set in stone.
Oh.
I don't know where that's coming from.
Yeah,
but
I'd hate that. I would hate that.
Yeah, I mean, this would be the third match these guys have had at WrestleMania, Daniel Bryan and Sheamus.
Yeah.
And I'm not knocking Sheamus. I like Sheamus. I know you don't, but
well, it's not that I don't like him.
I'd like to see something different.
Yeah, and it really, the reason I say I would hate that, it's not because of Sheamus. It's just because of what Daniel Bryan has done the last couple months. I think he deserves better than Sheamus right now. But then again, I don't know. Once they started really pushing Bray Wyatt and Daniel Bryan, it kind of threw a wrench into what I thought the plans were originally going to be for Bryan, because I really thought it would have been a really great story to have Bryan get screwed over and screwed over and screwed over, and the fans really getting behind him and him being like the little train that could. And he just outpowers and he just keeps getting stronger and stronger, and then has this great story with Bray, and then he goes into the Rumble, and then he can actually win the Rumble, and then he gets to face Randy Orton again, basically his Darth Vader, and then have that actual moment. It would be an amazing WrestleMania moment, I think, with Daniel Bryan.
I agree with you 100%. I'm just basically going off of things I've read and heard.
Yeah.
About Bryan. I mean, he could have another match with Bray Wyatt. He could have a match with Randy Orton. He could have a match with Sheamus, I've heard. I've heard The Undertaker wants to face him. Like, that's Undertaker's hand-picked opponent was Daniel Bryan.
Yeah. I
mean, Daniel Bryan is all over the place. John Cena's been all over the place for what he's going to be doing. I know I would assume Cena and Hogan are going to do something either with Cena or Hogan in Cena's corner and something along those lines. It's really up in the air. I mean, nothing's really set in stone in my eyes, but I mean, obviously creative has different ideas, but
yeah. Overall, we think it's going to be a pretty good Rumble. I think it's going to be the whole show, head to toe, looks pretty strong. Usually you can't really say that about the Rumble. They usually focus on the Rumble, and the matches leading into it are really not that strong. Now, in past years, what they've done is they've had pretty short matches to make sure that they have time for the Rumble. So it'll be interesting to see if they actually give all these matches some time. I still wish that pre-show match was on the regular show, because I really want to see that match, but that's usually the case for the pre-show. It's usually a good one for some reason. I think looking at what the WWE Network is now, or what it will be, I think I get why they have been doing that. They're kind of getting people ready for being able to view stuff online and getting excited about that kind of thing. I don't think it worked out exactly how they planned.
No, and I think you make a valid point with the pay-per-views going onto the WWE Network, and you can watch them online on the network. People are going to tune in at 7 o'clock and watch the little bit of pre-show, and I know they're doing the I don't want to call it Legends Roundtable, but they're having like a little discussion panel, at each pay-per-view they've done for the last year or so. And I know Ric Flair is supposed to be on this one for the Rumble.
Yeah, Flair, Shawn, and Hacksaw.
Yeah, Hacksaw and Shawn Michaels.
Yeah.
So that's a who's who of Royal Rumble winners.
Yeah.
You got the very first one in Hacksaw. I think Flair won the second Rumble, didn't he?
Was it this
one? I don't know. I don't remember off the top of my head, but I know Flair's won a Rumble, and then obviously Shawn Michaels has won a Rumble.
Oh, yeah. I mean, they all have been iconic winners in some regard.
Yeah, I mean, the only one you're really missing there is Stone Cold, who's the only 3-time winner.
Yep, exactly. All right, so anything else to go on the whole Royal Rumble pay-per-view?
No, I think that's about it. I think it should be a solid match. I think a lot of WWE's ideas for what they want for WrestleMania will be revealed, and I just hope there's a couple more surprises than I think. I mean, RVD and Sheamus would be nice, but I would love to see something out of left field, like you said, Shane Douglas, AJ Styles. I don't see that happening, but I mean, I don't know what Jeff Hardy's TNA contract is. Jeff Hardy showing up. If they somehow sign Sting this weekend and Sting shows up, that would be incredible.
Could potentially have Hardy Boys even. I know.
Yeah,
Matt's been doing stuff with Ring of Honor, but I don't know how.
I believe Ring of Honor is in Pittsburgh that day or around that area.
Oh, is it?
I'm pretty sure it was from what I read. That wouldn't be a bad idea.
It seems Ring of Honor contracts are kind of easy to get out of from what people have been able to do. So I think if they really wanted to get the Hardy Boys in there for a surprise, I think they could do it.
Yeah, and that would be very cool. I always love the surprises, the guys that you just somebody you haven't seen in a long time, or somebody you just forgot about, or just an epic return. I think RVD coming back fresh, RVD hitting a couple of his, signature moves. I think Sheamus coming back would be a nice story, and Sheamus doing well. So, I mean, there's a lot of things they can do. So.
I agree. All right, so basically we think it's going to be a good Rumble. And then one guy you mentioned before, we're going to touch on him a little bit. We'll get more involved with this whole thing because this is just reports are coming in left and right about what's actually happening, and it deserves more of our attention. But for the most part, this was just a Royal Rumble prediction show for our first show. But we are going to talk real shortly about Sting's future. He potentially had his last match on Thursday. If that was his last match, if that was his last appearance, screw you, TNA, in all honesty, because for what that man has done for that company, I understand you advancing your own angles or whatever, with that being his last match, but just the way it was done, with him not being able to even acknowledge maybe that's his last match to the fans on camera, I think that would be really, really piss poor on TNA's part and Dixie's part. I hope that wasn't. I'll put it this way. In a sense, I do hope that was his last ever appearance. Just get him out of there because that company is a sinking ship and everyone is leaving as well as they should. We've talked about that before. Where if your contract is expiring, don't re-sign with them. And I've been a TNA supporter from day one. But that company has done so many things wrong. If I was someone with a legend kind of feel to them like a Sting, I'd get out of there. I would like for Sting to be able to come on a show and acknowledge the fans, do his exit the proper way, because there's very few people that are as classy as Sting that have had as much impact on the industry as Sting, and for what he's done for that company, it would be a travesty for that to be his last appearance of just laying there. But what do you think about that?
Yeah, I agree. I mean, I think TNA is going a little bit downhill. I think everybody kind of sees that. I mean, it could all be a storyline because this investor storyline. Maybe, this investor has bought up AJ Styles, he's bought up Sting, he's brought up Jeff Hardy, and they're all going to come back together in some way. I could see that happening, or I could see, I mean, they've done it to all three of those guys. You don't know about AJ Styles, you don't know about Sting, you don't know about Jeff Hardy. What's up with these guys? what's their contract status. So I know Sting renews every January, I think is what it is.
Yeah.
And from the rumors and all that I've read is it's as close as ever that Sting is ready to jump. And I think he's realizing, I only have 1, maybe 2 years left that I can go. He's always, I've heard him say in an interview, it's every wrestler's dream to be in a WrestleMania. He's never been in a WrestleMania. So I think for Sting to be able to do that, to compete in at least one WrestleMania, I think he wants to do that before he hangs up his boots. I think this would be a good way to get Sting involved in the WWE Network and doing some WCW stuff, to do a DVD release for Sting that he much deserves, a nice documentary, and some of his best matches that he could pick out from his WCW career that could be added onto the disc. And I think with Sting, he's probably going to end up jumping. And I personally, I'm like every other fan, I would love to see Sting versus The Undertaker this year at WrestleMania. I think if you give it from after WrestleMania or beginning of February from there and give those guys 2 months build up, let them come up with everything. Don't let them even touch each other. Maybe a stare down, and that's it. And just let it unfold at WrestleMania like everyone has wanted to see for years. And I think it could be potentially one of the best WrestleMania matches of all time.
I would agree with that. I personally don't want this to be happening this year, just because in my mind I have this match billed as the ultimate fans' dream match, and I know a full year is too much. It really is. But I can just see in my head Undertaker posing, and then you just see a baseball bat just coming up from under the ring through the actual ring mat, and you see Sting, and you have like old Sting. You have like 1997, 96, quiet, independent Sting, and they just have a stare down, and then you could build that up for a full year. The more I think about it, the more I think a year is too much for them. But
well, yeah, because you don't know how much longer Undertaker can go. It seems like every time he gets in the ring, he gets hurt.
Yeah.
So you really don't know how much time he has.
Yeah, I would love for them to have 4 months, 3 to 4 months of solid build up. I mean, this match really could be one of the greatest matches we ever see. Obviously not them in their prime or anything like that, because that would have been amazing if we could have seen this in 1999, something like that, or even as soon as WCW closed. This would have been an epic match. Both of them, though we've talked about this in the past, both of them we think can go. Because they're not wrestling that much anymore. If they just really trained hard for each other for a couple months, could have an outstanding, solid one match that would give the fans exactly what they wanted. I hope Sting is WWE bound, and in the past I've been against it, but at this point, I think Sting deserves to be in the top company, getting the top recognition, getting the DVDs. What you touched on with the WWE Network would be perfect, especially if they want to do stuff with ECW. I would assume that they would also want to try to do something with some WCW guys, and there's no one that's a bigger icon from WCW than the icon Sting.
Well, he's the last big one to jump over. I mean,
yeah.
From the WCW, we've had Goldberg come over, we've had DDP come over, even though that was a tragic. They screwed that one up.
That was horrible.
And you've had Hogan come back, you've had Nash come back, you had Scott Hall come back. I mean, the list goes on and on of all the guys that have come back. The one constant big name that hasn't come over was Sting. He's never been in WWE, so
yeah, I would agree.
I think this would be a fitting end to it. I don't know if they would do a streak versus career match between these two. I mean, I think it would be a little too soon with Sting. I mean, he'd only be in here for 2 or 3 months.
Yeah.
But I don't see Sting being a full-time wrestler either, though, if they signed him for a year. I don't really know what they would do, if they would just maybe have him doing promos and in-ring confrontations with people leading up to matches just at pay-per-views. I mean, there's a couple matches that, you could see. There's Sting versus Undertaker, Sting versus Triple H people have wanted to see.
Yeah.
I could see, maybe, I think another good idea would maybe even tag team him. You could do Sting and John Cena as a tag team.
Yeah.
I mean, just little things like that. I mean, that would be pretty cool for fans to see. But I definitely want to see Sting come over. I think the time is now, because TNA is really just. I mean, I think everyone's just kind of jumping off the ship there. So
I think if there's any time to do it, it's now. I think it's been well.
Well, yeah, you got to do it before Mania, because if he's gonna. I mean, I don't think it's about the money, but I think it's about. I've never competed at WrestleMania. I want to compete at WrestleMania. The fans have wanted to see Undertaker versus Sting. We just watched an interview the other day where he said, the one guy that I do want to face that I haven't faced is The Undertaker. The fans want to see it, and I kind of want to see it, because they're both such awesome performers.
Yeah.
Not just in the ring, but with their promos, how they talk, just their dark side to each other. I just think both sides could clash so well together and just make... I personally would love to just watch 2 months of them building up and talking. I mean, it could just be that, just magic, because they know what they're doing. They know all the psychology and all that goes behind it. So that would be just tremendous.
Yeah, and I want to touch more on this, but we're already getting real close to an hour-long program today, which is not what we had expected, but we just kept going and going and going. But yeah, like you, I agree. I think the time is now. I think Sting will jump, and he deserves to jump. But what we're going to do right now, we are ending the show, but what I want to do right now is just kind of talk about a little bit of what we're going to be doing in the future. There's a couple different things that we're going to be bringing to the show. We're obviously going to be doing stuff like what we did today. We love professional wrestling, and we love talking about it. We love predicting. We love recapping. So we're going to be doing recaps for every Raw, SmackDown, and Impact / TNA pay-per-views, if you can call them TNA pay-per-views. I mean, sadly, their free TNA pay-per-views are even worse usually than Impact's, and I guess even this last one for Genesis.
They're like explosions.
Yeah, it basically is. It really is. We're also going to be doing some DVD.
Like if Explosion and Velocity had a child.
That's what it is. Oh, we're also going to be doing some DVD reviews. We love watching DVDs. We both have some pretty awesome DVD collections. So we're going to kind of just like give you guys a review of what we felt about the DVDs, the documentaries, plus the match selections. We also both really enjoy NXT. We've both really watched NXT in the past, and it's really fun to see NXT. It's fun to see how like Big E did in NXT. It's fun to see how like Dean Ambrose did, and Seth Rollins, and a lot of the bigger guys now came from NXT, and it's just been really cool to watch NXT and see what they've done in the big show, I guess you could say. So we're going to be doing kind of like a spotlight on some guys we might think, and girls, because like Paige should be on the main roster right now. So we'll kind of just do like a spotlight every once in a while of what we think someone should be ready or when they should be ready. Also going to be talking about the WWE Network. It's huge. We're both super excited for this. It's like 31 days away now. And we're just so excited about it. So we're going to break it down, give our pros and cons about what we think about it. as much as what we know so far, and when it comes out, we'll be able to get more in depth of what we like, what we don't like.
Yep.
And we're also going to be talking about old school topics from now and then. I was a huge WCW, ECW fan. So were you. So we're going to be talking about that. We're going to be talking about just older matches, older feuds, angles, just different eras of professional wrestling. Do you have anything else to add to stuff like that?
Yeah, I definitely want to start doing some top 10s of our own. I know they're going to be doing a WWE Countdown top 10.
Yes.
I want to kind of do a top 10 of our own. I mean, we don't know what's going to be on the network yet, but, you know, me and Jeff have talked about going back in time and watching every Raw, Nitro, Thunder, ECW, Hardcore TV, all the pay-per-views, and kind of just watching history over again. And, you know, we know all the pay-per-views are going to be there. We don't know if all the Nitros and Thunders and ECWs are going to be, the TV shows are going to be there from the launch. But if they're not, me and Jeff can do some other things. We could, I know we've talked about watching every single WrestleMania over again and rating them. And, you know, what we thought was our favorite WrestleMania in order from 1 to 10. Kind of rank them. We can do our favorite WrestleMania matches 1 to 10. So I kind of like doing that kind of stuff and talking about it. But I definitely would like to get our listeners interested. Leave comments on the YouTube podcast page there. Leave some comments for us and, you know, maybe even some questions, and we'll be happy to answer them. I know this isn't going to start off as a big popular show, but we're hoping to build there, and definitely our listeners are going to help us do that. So any appreciation, feedback, if you think Jeff sucks, if you think I suck, just let us know.
Yep, we have YouTube, The Rope Break. We're on Twitter already at The Rope Break. We hope this to be big. We hope this to be a fun, interactive show, and definitely give us questions. I'd like every once in a while there just to be a show that's just questions that we can answer. But I think this was a good first show. I think this is going to be fun going forward. We hope to do this a lot more often. I think we're going to be starting with one show a week. Hopefully, maybe 2 shows a week would be ideal. Depending on our schedule and how involved we can get everyone. But that would be great. Great first show, Eric. And we will see you guys later. My name is Jeff Wolf.
And I'm Eric Vanek, and we will see you guys next time on The Rope Break.